Yo, what's up, guys? It's the Insane Game Freak here. Nintendo Direct. Let's talk about Bethesda and third parties on the Switch. Intro start. So we got the announcement of Doom and Wolfenstein 2, and the question now becomes, what the fuck are you doing, Capcom? I'm specifically going to throw Capcom under the bus because I'm going to make a clear-cut example of how bad their support has been so far. So Bethesda decided, okay, here's Skyrim, but we're also going to give you Doom, and we're also going to give you Wolfenstein 2. And that means a lot to not only Nintendo fans, but to Switch owners in general. And it should mean a lot more to third party. Particularly because if we take Bethesda's efforts, who have barely supported Nintendo consoles, and compare them to Capcom's efforts so far, we can see how bad this looks. So let's just go, let's take it what we got so far. Capcom, I believe we have 3 titles right now. We have Ultra Street Fighter 2, which is already proven to have sold more than what they expected. We have Resident Evil Revelations, which doesn't fucking come out until the end of the year. And then we have Monster Hunter Double Cross, that right now is a Japan exclusive game that more than likely may not even get fucking pushed until after Worlds is out. At least in America, is what I should say. And then you compare that to Bethesda's Skyrim, Doom, that's only about a year going on, maybe 2 years old, and Wolfenstein 2, that although it's coming out later, is still a brand new game. They still announced the game before it came out. There's also shed some light on some other things that I'll get into as this conversation goes forward. And some of you might be thinking, well, maybe Capcom just didn't have any games that they could get away with announcing. Well, let's think about it. They have actually a few games they could have announced. They could have announced Street Fighter V. Whether or not they wanted to keep that console exclusive means nothing, because as we've learned, Capcom is full of shit 90% of the time, so that could have easily gone either way regardless of the fact. So you have Street Fighter V, you have Resident Evil 7, you have a Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. No matter how I personally feel about that game, that is a new game that does not have console exclusivity, so you could have easily announced that. And you have, I believe, Monster Hunter Worlds, which is a representation of a franchise that barely gets represented on any other console other than Nintendo. It's like that game where Nintendo fans are in the back like, how did that not get announced? How? On top of the newly announced Okami. Okami? Fucking Okami. It's Okami. It's a fucking HD re-release of a highly appreciated game that Nintendo fans have bought. And that is sitting on the motherfucking corner, where the Nintendo fans are looking on the other side of the corner like, what is this shit? And the fact that they announced Wolfenstein 2 before it even released, like a month before it released, you could have at least did that with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. And Nintendo fans, it's kind of like how people are treating the Wolfenstein 2 stuff. Okay, it's delayed because it's obviously a last minute thing, but we appreciate you announcing the game. Because the whole thing with Doom and fucking Wolfenstein and Skyrim being announced the way they are, it shows that they're willing to give Nintendo fans a chance. So here's the thing. If those are good ports, which Doom so far looks like it's going to be, if both of those games, if all 3 of those games are good ports, and they don't make any money, Nintendo fans will put their hands up and go, then that's it. We ain't gonna blame Bethesda for that. We'll take that L. We didn't buy the fucking game. Whereas with Capcom, it's like fucking Ultra Street Fighter 2 needs to prove itself, which is fucking stupid. Because it's an old ass game. Then they were saying shit about Monster Hunter Double Cross needs to prove itself in Japan. What the fuck do you mean it needs to prove itself in Japan? It's Monster Hunter. You've been releasing a game like every fucking year for the last few years. And you've been making money every fucking year, but it needs to prove itself. And then the first proof of, okay, more Switch support is a fucking port of an original 3DS game, of a Wii U game, and the sequel we never got for no good fucking reason. This shit is embarrassing. And Capcom already doesn't have a lot of fan love because they disrespect the majority of their franchises nowadays. But holy shit. Now I understand that people are being hesitant and you're not going to get every new game released. I'm not the kind of person who's sitting there freaking out because every new game didn't get dropped. But I would have appreciated at least one of those fucking titles I mentioned. One of those titles would have been better. At this point, Rockstar has given more faith, and that's not saying much at all, considering what they're releasing is just a port of LA Noire so far. But I'm sitting over here looking like a dumbass with my fucking old-ass games, sitting there wondering, I wonder if Monster Hunter Double Cross is going to get localized. That's what makes it even worse. It's not even just the simple selection of games, but the 3 games I mentioned, only 2 of them you can play in the US right now, in English. Whereas the 3rd one, you have to download from the Japanese eShop and figure that out. Which, ironically enough, I would say it's probably the most dialogue heavy of the 3 games so far. Well, maybe, I guess in comparison to Resident Evil Revelations, which that one's even worse, because it's not only is it a port of a game we got, I think at this point, the worst fucking thing about this whole situation is that it's like Capcom has a lot of games that you really will want to play. But the thing is, and it was like we were saying during the Wii U days, third parties need to build goodwill. If you build goodwill, we will return that goodwill with sales. And Bethesda, being a company that's barely represented on Nintendo at all because of their past disagreements or whatever the fucking reason, this is a lot of goodwill they're sending our way. To the point where some people will just pick up these games just for the brand loyalty. Now, I still believe in the idea that if you're not interested in the game, don't pick up the game, because you create this false sense of support that doesn't exist unless you're just planning on buying every single game from them until the end of time, which I don't fucking suggest you do. But the reason why the Bethesda thing means so much is because it shows a willingness to trust in the fandom. Now, obviously, I know about Doom not having his level creator, but to be honest with you, that doesn't mean it's fucking much to me. I'm not overly concerned about level creator. Now, granted, it is a thing that's missing from the game. It is a thing missing from the game, and I wish it was in the game. I wish it would at least get patched in later. But at the same time, that's the only thing that is missing, and they went ahead and did the custom engine for the game and didn't take out any major feature. You know, taking out the single-player mode of fucking FIFA versus taking out a level creator that was probably an afterthought isn't really equated. We're still in proving grounds. So Capcom, for the most part, is kind of in the we'll kind of tolerate it mode. But to be real with you, if next year comes and the games are selling and you're still not putting things out, hell, if next year comes and you put out something and you sit there and complain about, oh, well, Monster Hunter didn't meet the sales expectations, or fucking Resident Evil Revelations didn't meet the sales expectations, and you're looking at these unrealistic numbers, at that point, it's a fuck you. It's a fuck you, Capcom, at that point. Because if you're not going to invest in us and then get mad when we don't want the fucking games that either we've already played, we already own on other consoles, or aren't good ports in general, then at that point, you've already said fuck the Nintendo consumer. Which is ridiculous, because you guys have had more connections with us over these last few years than fucking Bethesda has. But we gotta sit here and beg and hope and wish for every single fucking game. And Square Enix, don't think I don't see you over there with Dragon Quest 11 and Dragon Quest 10, and we're over here in America like, bro, you wanna... Is somebody gonna localize those? Can we know that it's coming to the West, but y'all ain't talked about which versions yet. I wonder why. It's a shame, and it's just shit that the fans shouldn't have to deal with. If we didn't buy your games, that'd be a different story. Here, it's just like we're paranoid. We're scared of every little release. So at the end of the day, what I'm really trying to say is get your shit together. Invest in us and we'll invest in you. That's what it boils down to. Invest in the fandom and the fandom will invest in you. You keep giving us this half-ass support. We will continue to slowly but surely give a fuck less and less. You know, Capcom, you have some games that we will be looking forward to. You know, some announcements and whatnot. It'd be nice. Anywho, that's it for me. Please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. This has been the Insane Game Freak. Life's a game. Play to win. And I will catch you guys later. Peace! You know, if I was a girl YouTuber, I'd be making hearts everywhere. Choo, 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 choo. Alright, I'm done. Later days. Peace.